All right. Let's just talk. How are you guys? Episode 5, man. We made it.
Already.
Yes.
Wow.
That went by pretty quick.
We're in kindergarten.
I know. Yeah, we're in kindergarten. Guys, just like I said, this is episode 5. Each time I'm going to introduce everybody on here. But first, let me say that usually we do these live for people that are members only on this channel. There's different tiers to it. The lower one is $4.99. That way you can be included on the comment. But other than that, the next day we release it to the entire public, this YouTube channel. But over here we have Pastor Angel, which is my brother. He pastors a house church in Manteca, California. What's the hub? Is it just the hub or house church, or what do you call it?
The Hub Ministries.
Hub Ministries. Okay. And on this side, on this corner, we have Brother Tino.
Hey.
He attends here at House of Rest, and he's done many things, many hats. He's like the guy that is juggling plates and balancing it all, from we're doing workouts to making his wife happy and keeping his kids from eating all his food, working out, done marriage counseling,
Yes.
and likes ranting on Facebook. So all kinds of stuff.
I do like ranting, man. It is
It's therapeutic.
It is therapeutic, man. I do got to say that, man. Ever since I was able to start doing that, it really helps out. Plus, it promotes my worship in the Word.
Oh, that's right.
And it promotes my worship in the Word.
Actually, what is that? Explain that.
Worship in the Word is something that my wife and myself have started up. It's, I guess, like you say, it's a house church. And, yeah, I've been called to teach. And so that's
How long you been doing that?
Roughly a year. We do it once a month. So we've done it for roughly about a little under 12 months.
Nice.
And so we have been very, very blessed to have 3 young adults lead us in worship. So we have live worship. So we do about 2 or 3 songs, and then we get into the teaching of the Word. Whatever announcements we have to give, we give those, and then we get into the Word. Again,
Nice.
I've been very blessed because my wife has taught one of the days, and a good friend of mine has taught, Matt Rochelle, he's taught as well. So I'm very, very blessed and love to teach the Word, and we pick topics that not everybody really likes. Let's just be honest about it, man. Because I know everything you teach on I'm not really liking, but it's because the Spirit is cutting and the Word is doing what it does.
Oh, I thought you said you weren't like it. I was like, what?
No, I get my flesh is offended.
Oh, okay.
Which is a good thing in my opinion.
When you say that, as far as they don't like, what do you mean? Give me, like, what's an example?
Oh, like I'm not one to teach the love, like, and make you feel good. I want to make sure that everybody understands that my God is a God of wrath as well. And that when he takes his hand off of you, that's the wrath. But in the chastising, he's loving you. So, I mean, it's not a feel good. We're not there for your feelings. We're not there. We want the truth, the meat of the Word. And we can deliver the milk as well, but we'd rather get you eating hearty food as soon as possible. So,
Amen.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
And I love talking politics.
Amen.
Because it's a new thing to me.
Okay. So this is a continuation from 4 because we keep running out of time every time. And maybe we find a better system for that or something.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how we're going to do that, but I think it needs to be done. But you had said you were going to take care of that last one. We didn't get into the last one, which is now the first one. So kick it off.
Well, the subject I wanted to talk about was political parties, as far as between the Democrats and Republicans and individuals that represent the parties shifting. Some coming over and different things. And so, but before we get into that, I just want to say, in the ministry as a pastor, I never ever got involved, dove in, did any research until 2020. And it wasn't until the pandemic hit that, you and I would have conversations, and I would tell you, David, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was about Trump, and I would just say, well, I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for Hillary either, but I don't know. All I know is just kind of peripherally what I'd heard.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until 2020 when I would hear him say all the time, fake news, fake news, fake news. And then it was the day that he started doing his daily presentations that he would do live. And it was like the first or the second one he did. And I was working from home, and I left the TV on from the channel that I was watching live, and CNN, it happened to be CNN. CNN went on after. And you know how all of those really smart people afterwards begin to analyze in the commentary of whatever was said. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time me and Deanna were home, we were listening, we went, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
And that sparked a whole different thing for me that started in 2020. And so just that information, for me, I started diving in, I started asking questions, started looking into it. And that, I don't know if it was it red pilled? Or like, what was it? What was the color of the pill in Matrix?
I think red
and blue
to see the Matrix, and blue to go back to normal, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so once we got red pilled, it's hard to unsee.
Yeah, you can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it anymore. And so just kind of all of that and kind of digging through. So for the last 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, 3, 4, something like that, my antennas have been up. And so now I just wanted to bring to light, because I know we've been talking about politics and different things, but one of the things that I just wanted to bring up was, as far as voters and those that are Christians and feeling like, okay, Republicans, how can you, because I know we had this conversation back and forth, how can you vote and be a Christian and vote Democrat?
Yeah.
But now what is our perspective, and what do we have to say to Democrats that are now coming over, like Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., that are coming over supporting? They're not saying we're Republican, but they're supporting Trump.
Yeah.
And so with that, they are also being very open to the fact, and no one's saying anything, and I'm not saying bad or good, I'm just throwing this out there to have a conversation. They're not relinquishing on their moral positions. And so RFK is not saying I agree with Trump's position on abortion. He's not saying if you listen to RFK, and I've listened to him multitude of times, he'll say that the transgender LGBTQ AMBC deal, to him he says it's jangling keys. Meaning it's just noise over here for them to distract you for really what they're trying to do.
Smoke show.
So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And to him, he's just going, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's that much of a fight. That's just jangling keys. And so, in other words, that's not on my top 10 deals that I want to see. His is health, environment, those types of things. And so that's just my question and having a conversation is, how do we feel, or how do others feel about others supporting Trump, but yet having different moral standards than, because all of the Christians that were supporting Trump.
Is it kind of like, it was funny because I met a pastor when I was in Texas last week, older man, and he came and he owned the restaurant, actually. So I went with that couple out of the prison ministry. They took us there. And the owner was like, oh, my dad was a pastor in California a long time ago, something like that. So anyways, the older man came and introduced himself, and he kind of joked. And he says, well, welcome to Texas. He goes, now when you going back?
Yeah.
And because they don't want people to California, they're Texas. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, no, sir, I'm not a Californian like that. And but basically, is that what you're saying, is that it's not even about siding with Trump. It's about not letting Kamala win.
Yeah.
Is that correct in my assessment in that?
And that's what they're vocalizing. They're being open about that.
Yeah.
They're saying we're teaming up because what's happening on the Democratic Party, they can't win.
Yeah.
They can't win. And at the same time, one of the things, if you watched the interview with RFK and Tucker Carlson,
I started to about maybe 30 minutes in.
Okay. Well, one of the things that he said, Tucker Carlson, he goes, so when you left, what was that like? When you make that decision, I'm gonna support Trump openly.
Yeah.
And he said his wife was completely against it. Family members, some people that were on his cabinet, others were saying, well, but let's look at the big picture.
Did he remarry?
No.
Oh, you said his wife
was against him.
But he's I thought he was a widow.
RFK?
Yeah.
Oh, then maybe he remarried, but he's
Oh,
married.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But he says on that interview that his wife was against it
Yeah.
and said no. And he said there was a lot of things that I didn't agree with either, what he was saying with Trump. He said, but when he sat down with Trump and they went over the conversation of how this would work,
Yeah.
it was the big picture. But he said, I will still be vocal in the positions that I disagree with you in.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard was a congressional seat from Hawaii. She was a Democrat, lifelong Democrat.
She was.
Yes, she was.
Is that why? See, I don't know much about her. Is that why? I heard a few people, I don't know whether they're serious or joking, saying that she was a plant.
That's probably why.
Because she was Democrat on her. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, she actually ran in Hawaii and won. And so if you hear after, because she supported
As a governor or as what?
I think it was a congresswoman.
Okay.
And so she won a seat, and she tells the story as far as on her end because she was a colonel in the military.
I saw that.
And she tells I think it was
After 9/11, right?
Yeah,
Or-
I think so. And yeah, because she's not that old, and so it'd have to be. But that she was, what was it? It was after she was in the military. She got her seat. She said within a week she got a call from Nancy Pelosi,
Yeah.
and so she said, okay. She said I didn't realize I was a woman of color because she's not Caucasian,
What is she?
Hawaiian.
Oh, she's Hawaiian?
Yeah, I think she's different mix.
Oh.
White is the color.
What?
I said white is the color.
Oh.
I'm telling you what she said.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You know,
Sorry. I apologize.
She's military as a colonel.
Yeah.
She's a woman. All these different things. And she said in the very beginning, she started getting all of these opportunities. Her first year representing Hawaii, she got to speak at the DNC, right away. And
Yeah.
she got all these privileges. And she said it didn't dawn on her how she was getting all these opportunities until other Democrats started telling her, how are you getting these opportunities and we weren't?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until she said everything was fine until the Obama administration steps in, and there was a petition, I think, to go to war with, I think it was Libya, and we never did.
Yeah.
But Obama was pushing, and she pushed back and began to get vocal that the Democratic Party. She said, I started getting letters and phone calls of people saying, "How dare you?
How dare you what?
How dare you speak? How dare you even question Obama?"
Oh.
And she said that started the downward spiral
I
that
see.
began to take effect. That now she is transitioning over, not Republican.
Oh, so that's
She's
not your
supporting.
opinion. You're saying that she has said that.
She said this. She said she's not going, okay, I'm leaving the Democratic Party to be a Republican. Neither is RFK. RFK says I'm a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
But she can't win. Talking about Kamala and
So what? I don't even know nothing about Democratic Party, but I mean, I don't think they want her now.
no, that's the point.
Yes.
And he said he makes the statement with Tucker, and he was like, I had to burn all my boats.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's some weird music right there.
But it's
Slipping.
let me make sure I'm mine.
I turned mine on
Yeah, I thought I
before I,
did
had
too.
some crazy
Yeah.
Street Fighter music going on.
Sorry. I apologize. I'm usually good.
But no, that's
Sorry,
the point.
Angel.
They're not leaving the Democrat. They're not leaving the term of being Democrat. They are coming over to support Trump.
Yeah.
But their positions haven't changed.
I see.
So what are you guys' thoughts?
So just to summarize, basically what you're asking us is we have these people that are Democrats with Democratic mindset, Democratic ideologies, but they don't want Kamala to win. Then they're coming into the into Trump's corner, but they still have not changed their ideologies. And you're asking us what we think about that.
Yeah. Because it's not just support. They're going to have seats and positions in the administration.
That's part of the I'll back you up.
Yep. I'll support you.
Give me a job.
Yep. Because Tulsi Gabbard ran for president against Trump
I remember that.
in 2020.
Yeah.
I'm looking right here, and I'm on the Post, New York Post, and I'm seeing. I know we're going to segue into something, so I'm not going to mention the names yet, but What I am reading is exactly what you're talking about. It's a lot of these celebrities, and what they're doing is they're just sick and tired of the things that matter most to them. Mm-hmm. And because Kamala is not qualified, let's just be honest about it, right? She's not qualified. She didn't get picked. She didn't get voted in, right? Which we're probably going to touch on. But as I'm reading here, that's exactly what they're saying is the things that matter most to them, she's not even addressing.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, some of the things that are, as I'm reading, some of the things that are very important to a lot of these celebrities, she is against. Mm-hmm. And so I think that matches up of what we said in the last episode was that if you're going to vote for one party, remember you're voting for all. So it's like, that's good that you might not be good with abortion, right? And you might not agree on any of that, but because you vote for the Democrat, you are voting to have abortion okay. And so I think that's very, very interesting because one of the main things that I heard about Obama and I saw was, especially because I love hip hop so much, in the hip hop world, that's who he went after in his second term. Mm-hmm. He went after Puffy, and Puffy was all vote or die, and they went after all the celebrities, and so like Burbank is just full of these leftists. You know what I mean? Burbank, California. And that's all just these Hollywood stars. That's all the ones that live up there in the hills and multimillionaire actors and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And that's exactly what this is saying is that these people don't like you because of what you're doing, because you're not even supposed to be there. You've been there and look at what you've done. And you expect me, and some of these people left because of Obama. And that's what's really tripping me out in this. And this is the New York Post. You know what I mean? This is a leftist paper anyway. So it's just, I think that's very interesting, man. It just goes to show that if these people who actually put their time and effort into learning this and they're putting their money into where they want it to go, if they're the ones that are wanting to switch because the integrity of the one running isn't even there, that should let the people who don't, us down here of the money, right, should wake these people up.
Yeah. Wow. For me, this is why I think sometimes it could be mistaken why I said I don't have an allegiance to the Republican Party. Yeah. And I think I clarified that on the last episode, saying that doesn't mean I'm going to switch to the left. I'm just saying my as a Christian, as a man of God, the Bible says that we're ambassadors. So my allegiance is always going to be to God. So because of that, it's for this exact reason, because ultimately when people are switching over because they don't want Kamala to win, that has nothing to do with Christian belief. That has nothing to do with anything. They're politicking. Mm-hmm. This is politics at its finest. This is what it is. So why would I dig my heels into any organization outside of the kingdom of God when it comes down to it? So that's kind of why I keep saying that. Mm-hmm. Because if they're bringing their ideologies into it, because ultimately, let me play both sides of the wheel here. A lot of times people say America should be a Christian nation, and I'm like, are you really sure? Because there's no such thing as a Christian nation. That's impossible. You can't do it, nor should you, because we're basically trying to build the kingdom of God, as if without Jesus established, that's not going to work. So, but at the same time, I sometimes I wonder, like, okay, let's say there's a Democrat out there, and I know there's a bunch of them that are Christians. They go to church, whatever, and they feel they're Christians and they're doing a thing. And yeah, they don't like the abortion thing, but maybe they believe in the other stuff, and they're just like, you know what? I'm going to teach my kids abortion is wrong. In my Christian household, how can I dictate what America thinks, because this is not a Christian nation? So why are we going to push our Christian beliefs against abortion on a non-Christian nation? Does that make sense? Yeah. But I will say this myself, even before I was a Christian, I've always been against abortion. Always. You know, even as a non-Christian gangbanging cholo selling dope. And you know what I mean? I was always against that. So I don't think it's just because I'm a Christian. I just think it just morally, it just never settled right with me to kill a child. You know, why did what's his name that got busted here and he's in San Quentin right now? Lacey Peterson. Scott Peterson.
Scott.
Why did he get charged with double murder?
Because of the baby.
A baby that's not a person that has no rights.
According to Hillary.
Right? Has no rights. And they'll actually use the what is it called? The Constitution. Yeah. They'll say that you have rights, those who are born. So they'll use that.
They have an inalienable, I don't even know how to say it.
We're all getting twisted up today.
Inalienable rights. Something.
Yes. Those who are born.
Yeah.
You know, so Scott Peterson gets double homicide. But then if she had wanted to terminate that child, it's her body.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't have got homicide. That's a double standard.
Yeah.
So anyways, I know I said a whole bunch of things. So my thing is that I find it quite alarming. I mean, do I want Hillary to lose? I do.
Kamala.
Yeah, same thing. Who's
yeah.
I mean,
who's controlling?
Who's running? Who's really running?
Well, actually, Obama
thank you for that correction. Maybe that might have been prophetic.
It's funny that you say that because I was just having a son with a son. I mean, and today it's able to. I'm able to. So, anyways, I was just talking with my son before I got here, and I was watching the RFK and Tucker Carlson, right? He's like, "What are you watching?" And he was like, "You're gonna watch that?" And I said, "Yeah, man, I want to learn. I got to learn." I said, "You can't do math until you learn it, right?" I said, "You can't do trigonometry until you learn it." And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "Can you read before you learn it?" And he was like, "No." I said, "Well, I can't speak about this stuff until I learn it. I got to see both sides and this and that, whatever, blah, blah, blah." Which led into, and he's like, he's 15 years old. He's not like 15. He is 15. And so I was telling him, I said, you have to understand that when you vote, you're not voting only for you. Like when I'm voting for Donald, I'm not voting for only me. It's for me, but it's also for you. And for Aria. Aria is my niece, and she is, I think she's 3 years old. And then my godson, who is 8 years old, right? I said, I'm voting for him. That's what I'm thinking of. I said, because when Donald gets in there, all these pornography books that are allowed in these elementary school libraries will not be there. But when you vote for Kamala or you vote for these people, that's the kind of stuff. You see, a lot of people, what they do is they give you the big title stuff. And then what they do is they fit in. See, that's just like, okay, so you were a recording artist.
Yeah.
So you know what it takes to write, right? So you have a first line and you have a fourth line, typically, right? On the four, you're going to rhyme the first, the second, or whatever like that, right? But what I have learned in writing is I'm going to say something, and then in the next two lines before that fourth line, I'm going to say as much as I can to tell like a little summary of a story I'm going to continue telling.
Yeah.
And so that's what I believe that they do. I think both sides do that. And so because I like music and I can pay attention to little tiny sounds, I pay attention to the underlying thing of what they're saying. So Trump is pretty much open. I'm not saying he's not running a smoke show. I'm just saying that he runs less of a smoke show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I
so
believe that.
That's what I was telling that's what I was explaining.
Am I going to say there's no smoke? I won't say that, but
no,
a lot less.
But that's what I'm trying to explain to my son. When you get to age of being able to vote, don't take this lightly. This is very, very serious. I'm not voting for you. I'm voting for me. I'm voting for you. I'm voting for the little children here. I'm voting for the people that live in Maine that I don't even know. I'm voting for the country. What is going to benefit the country? If it takes a little bit out of my pocket, but in the long run, when they want to tax me, and I can get better back on my taxes, whatever it may be, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the full picture of it. And it was really, really great because of the video that you sent. He was like, what is that? Who is that guy? And I got to explain who Bobby Jr. was, right? And so I said, this is history in the making, son. You don't even know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's my point. Is just it, and I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm not in anything. Honestly, I am. Actually, if you're what this week represented from Saturday on, was they were saying this is Trump's best week.
yes.
As far as everything that has occurred, everything that has happened, transitions and everything else. But I want to bring back to something you were mentioning earlier, because it's a question. I don't know. But I think sometimes people vote for, or how not necessarily vote, but well, maybe they do. But the expectation of the president, it's a false expectation.
Yeah.
And so let's use the situation of books that we were talking about right now in libraries. Does he really have that authority for Stanislaus County and San Joaquin County to those books to be removed?
There's people here that have that authority.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And so when we're voting, let's understand to the average voter, because it's kind of like when I told you guys the story with the Census Bureau. And I had, mothers that would come and they would say, okay, so if I make sure that we're counted, money can come to my kid's school? Well, I don't know that.
Yeah.
All I know, money will come. How it's allocated, I have no control over that.
Yeah.
And with, like, for instance, with RFK, one of the things when he's in that interview that he mentions is he says, I will have administrative authority in who is selected in his cabinet.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the agreements, because he only removed himself from 10 states that affect Trump.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm trying to figure that out, wrap my head around I know there's a strategy there.
He can still be voted president.
Oh, he still can.
He's still running. But in the 10 states that affect Trump, he had his name removed. In those states that were swing states, in those states that would affect him. But if they're Democrat states, he kept his name.
I see.
So votes can pull
That's what
towards,
I thought. What I thought.
So votes can still be pulled towards him away from Kamala.
Pretty smart, man.
So really the only exactly
that's strategy.
When you grow up doing politics, right?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Well, we were talking about that Kennedys, man.
Yeah. The Trump family is the new Kennedys.
There's so much politics. I mean, obviously, like I just learned. I was watching this thing he did, RFK. With just I don't know when it was actually, but I just watched it today. This is crazy, because he was saying do you realize this whole Ukraine thing, how it started, and that you saw that, and they're just like, well, conspiracies. I'm not talking conspiracies.
Yeah,
this is truth. He was. And I remember as a kid, because after World War II, Germany was split. That's why they had the Berlin Wall. And one side was for the West, one was for the East, one was communist, And
one was free.
Yeah, and basically when Russia, with the USSR kind of broke apart, one of the things Gorbachev said is he said, you know what, I'm going to give back Germany and tear that wall down. To help unify Germany. That's a big deal. He's giving up half a nation.
Yeah.
And he goes, all I ask,
one request,
that not 1 inch that NATO moves east.
Towards Russia.
That's all. And I will give Germany back. Everybody agrees. So.
And we reneged.
What's happening now? That's dirty. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's the thing is,
and you're gonna draw us into a war.
And I'm not saying Putin's a good guy.
No, I'm not saying that either.
But the way that he's painted, it's kind of like it's kind of like with the conversation of Israel and Gaza, and conversation. Listen, I'm not, let's first of all, I'm not for the government of Israel.
No.
Personally. I don't know where everyone can stand in their own. Dude.
No.
That's a government. We're not talking biblical Israel.
No.
Dude, that's two totally different things.
Do I say that's holy land? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The land, not the government.
Yeah.
And so to ignore that fact, that's just ignorance.
Yeah.
And so but it's kind of like, okay, when they came in, when the Palestinians came in And in what is it, October
7th, I think.
October
7th or 9th.
Yeah,
7th.
7th. You know, I said, you know, and I had people tell me, well, you know, they were just whatever arguments they had, and it's like, listen, if you come into my house, I don't care who owned the house before. I don't care if we had a long-lasting fighting, a back and forth, and me and you as a kid, and we fought back and forth. You come into my house, you hurt my family. I have a right to react.
Yeah.
You know, and to defend. And so let's get that straight. And they're like, well, but you don't, no. And so to me, that's the conversation in that with Israel. But at the same time with the church, sometimes we bring all of this stuff in, and it's just so convoluted because they're bringing in Old Testament Israel. And I wrote this down real quick. America's not Israel either.
No.
America's not national Israel. America didn't replace Israel.
No.
And, you know, but the mentality sometimes is. And so the way that people vote sometimes is.
Yeah.
Because they look at America and they're going, well, we've got to bring it, like we were talking earlier, we've got to have a Christian government. No. That's not that's not the kingdom.
No, it's not.
And so we've got to, you know, be able to navigate through that. That doesn't mean we shouldn't vote for moral issues.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't, you know, pray, and we shouldn't change those things. Because the reality, if that was the reality, then Jesus would have established that in Israel. We went through that. That didn't work. We had the law. We had a national, God-fearing nation. That wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Not remember, but it'd be interesting if voting, I'm not going to say it's ever going to be like this, but it just for the sake of this conversation. Can you imagine taking the actual people that are trying to be president and just putting the issues side by side, you know, and just on a sheet be like, okay, which side, what do you agree with, this side or this side? Just a blank face. Mm-hmm. And you go all the way down the line. What do you agree on this side? I'm curious to know, without the emotionalism in it. Yeah. Without I don't like her, I don't like him, I don't, you know, this and that or whatever that. Just straight up, you know, how would that look? Would the voting be different? You know, and it's just for the sake of argument, you know, because sometimes I think that the seat of the president, it's nice if the person is likable. It's nice if the person has this nice, you know, Hollywood look and just, you know, you know, same thing when Samuel went to go anoint the king, and he automatically looks to the handsome tall son, and the Lord's like, you look at the outside, I look at the heart, you know. But so obviously, you know, it'd be nice to have a Ronald Reagan again. That was a Hollywood star and this and that, but it's not always going to be that way. But it comes down to it, man, because I'm not going to sit in front of the president ever. He's not going to come and mow my lawn. He's not going to help me with my groceries. He's not going to do any of that. So whatever it is that they stand for is the thing that does affect me, not their personality. Yeah. I don't have to listen to a presidential speech at all. But when it comes down to is like, what do I believe in and what does this person stand for? Let me vote like that. Let me vote logically. Let me vote my standards. Which one does it match? Who cares what the person talks like, looks like, acts like? That's what I think.
I mean, I feel the same way, man.
But Trump is funny. I'm not gonna lie, he's funny. I think CNN secretly loves him.
They would be out of business.
I think they all love him. I think they all love him. I personally, I tell some people the reason they don't like Trump is because, for one, he is one that switched sides.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. He did too.
Yeah. He is one that switched sides.
I forgot about that.
And that's when they stopped liking him. And then when he switched sides, I don't think it's what he stands for. I don't think it's his policies. I don't think it's what he's going to build. I think it's because of all the secrets he knows about every single one of them, that they think he's going to be a whistleblower and he's just going to put everybody on blast. But I don't think, like, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
And he's a billionaire businessman. So he knows when to pull those cards when they need to be pulled. But he'll keep those in the back pocket for in case he ever does need to pull them. The thing about it is like you said about Trump is not, you know, the president is a godly perception in these people today. I don't care whether Biden, I don't care who. You're looking at him as a godly type of figure. You're putting God title on that man.
Like an emperor.
Almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The other thing is, too, is like, you know, you were saying, this is one nation under God. Mm-hmm. But you keep pushing my God out. But yet you turn around and blame him. And you don't want him around. But yet you want abortion. You want Molech. You want God. You just don't want my God. And that's the problem with a lot of these people.
Well, that's
the other thing is, too, is you said about Putin, right? Putin, I'm not saying Putin is a nice dude. You know what I mean?
He's a gangster, man.
Yeah, he is. That's exactly right. He is a gangster.
He's a gangster.
You know what I'm saying? And Trump knows gangsters.
Yeah.
I mean, look at...
he knows how to deal with them.
Look at Korea. What's dude's name? I just brain farted.
Kim Jong-un?
Kim Jong, dude, that's another young gangster, man. Like, don't play with these people. But Trump knows their language. Power knows power. Remember, we were talking about that. Power knows power. And so they all know how to speak in the same circle, right? And so the thing about it is, but that's what these people want. Yeah. They want to be ran the way those countries are ran.
Yeah.
You don't even know that you're doing that because you just... And then you said about the feelings right now. I mean, oh my goodness, man. I do not know when feelings became so important in a decision. I mean, I'm not, yeah, man, you know what? I was going to say, like, I'm not trying to sweep your feelings under the rug, but I am, dude. Sometimes you just need to put your feelings away. And I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
Because I deal with a lot of those emotions. You know what I'm saying? I got this other voice in my head that's saying this and saying that, and they're doing this and they're plotting on you and blah 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 blah. And it's like, no, man, get out your feels and realize what's going on and pay attention to, again, get out of the way and look at the big picture. Stop thinking of yourself only, man. There's a big picture here. It really, really is. And you know, it's just like you said. And because of the scripture that you used was Samuel and Saul, right? But
no, when Samuel went looking for the next king, and he went to Jesse and says, "Let me see all your sons."
Right.
And David was out there in the field, but he
his
said,
own father didn't even think of him.
Yeah, he's like, surely it must be this tall, handsome one. And the Lord's like,
oh, you're talking about the brothers.
Yeah,
the brothers.
Okay, all right, yeah. And so the thing about it is, that's what I was going to say. Look at that, man. Like, God knew exactly what he was doing. And sometimes we just need to sit back and allow God to do what God only knows. And I think that a lot of the times, like, my feelings don't matter when it comes to the truth of the word. So sometimes my feelings doesn't matter whenever these things are being said. Pay attention, man. If it's going against your motive. I like the saying that if you have to justify, as soon as you start to justify, it's wrong.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this question: how you feel? Because I think this is kind of like, and to anybody that's watching here, because I've heard some people say now that, let's say, certain people from the Democratic Party are coming in and going to have certain roles.
Yeah.
I can't vote for Trump because they're going to have say-so in the administration, and they have their different views. And again, I'm not saying I agree. I'm just this is I have heard this in other podcasts. I've heard other people bring this up, conversations or different things, and so. Let me ask this question, just people that you have conversated with or so forth. If they would have voted for Trump because of his positions on abortion, transgender, you know, like when he was on there with Elon Musk and he corrects Elon Musk about God and his view.
Yeah.
You know, and Trump's a lot more open, especially, I mean, he was open before, now he's even more open now. Mm-hmm. Well, how do people now navigate, people that are watching, how are they going to navigate now this different transition, knowing how are they going to feel? If you're going to vote, knowing like we were talking about the last time, when you vote for a party, it's all of it. Mm-hmm. So how do we take people out of this, or those that are in it, or how do we feel about it? I don't have a problem voting for Trump.
No.
But I have to acknowledge that there is people in his cabinet that feel differently than me in these other very important peripheral issues, which very well may impact some of these things in which Trump was saying he was going to do, because there's a trade-off.
Yeah. I mean, but ultimately, we're not voting in a king.
No.
They still answer to the Senate. They still answer to Congress. They still have, the Supreme Court. I mean, all of these are pieces that are supposed to kind of keep the nation at balance.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, because some people don't understand that process.
It's not like whoever's president can just do anything they want.
Exactly.
Doesn't work like that. Thank God.
Yeah, no, and that's what I want to talk about, for people that are listening to understand that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
I saw a YouTube short of back in the day whenever Trump was he was president, and he was on a question. They were asking, the press was asking questions.
Oh, okay. Like a press conference.
Yeah, there you go. I brain farted. I'm sorry. So somebody said something to the president, or said something to him, and Trump was like, "That's why I don't pick you. Don't be talking to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. You don't talk to the president of the United States like that. As a matter of fact, escort him out of here." And then the guy starts laughing. You hear him, and then you hear in the background going, "Hey, hey, don't touch me, hey!" And you hear, "You got to go."
Oh, really?
And he was escorted out. And I think that's great, because unfortunately, like, I remember when COVID hit and Newsom was doing what Newsom wanted to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't understand what the position of the president of the United States is, why he doesn't just come over and do this. Mm-hmm. Why do these governors get to override your authority? That's like me telling my boss, "Why don't you shut your mouth and you go do it, and then cut my paycheck, man, while you do my job for me." And it's just like, I didn't understand that. I understand it to some form today, but I still don't agree with it. But the thing about it is, I remember when the fires were going on and everything like that, and Trump told Gavin, "I'm not giving you any more money. I told you to pre-burn. You didn't want to do that, so now you're screwed. And now California gets to blame you." See, but a lot of people didn't understand that.
Yep.
And it was just like, Trump is trying to help us all out, but Gavin wants to override because his auntie is telling him you don't have to listen to him.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, especially, like, just look at kids today. This is a different generation than what we grew up. Look at how some of these kids speak to adults, let alone their parents. Blows my mind how they talk to their parents. And it's just like, it just, like I said.
And that's kind of like when Trump told, remember he went on the news and says all churches open up. Mm-hmm. But our governor was like, nope.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, we were already open anyway, but.
Well, because even what happened, what was it in Washington, in Seattle? What was the little city?
Oh, man, I don't remember. I know what you're talking about.
You know,
that little free zone.
Yeah. And so Trump said, I have, we can send National Guard.
Yeah.
And the governor and the mayor said no.
Yeah.
So, and then it got pushed back in the media when a kid got shot. And then there was videos coming out. Chaz. Yeah. And then there was video that started coming out of girls getting raped.
Yeah. There's murders happening tonight.
And all of a sudden now they got to put a stop to it. But everyone was negative towards Trump. But that's why what is it called? We're a democratic republic.
Yeah.
We're not a democracy. We're a republic. And so that's why when I know for myself in 2020, I wasn't interested in politics, but I was forced to be interested in politics because for the first time in my life, I understood now locally how much authority local jurisdiction has.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, for instance, the state of California says that marijuana is legal. But if you get busted by the feds, you'll still go to prison.
Yeah.
Because to the feds, you're still illegal. So, yeah, there's, that whole thing.
Yeah. Well, my job nationally, our headquarters is in Florida. Mm-hmm. And so when the vaccine mandate was going out and states were whatever, they were fighting against it.
Yeah.
Because they're based out of Florida.
Fighting what?
As far as the national side, when Biden was trying to force everyone to get the vaccination.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so our company was sending emails out, and then finally they did send an email, and they said, "Hey, we're at the very end. We're fighting it. We don't know where this is going to land. All the different states and everything else, you're going to have to sort through what decisions you make."
Yeah.
Because reality is, there's up to a certain level that the president does have authority for change.
Yeah.
Even in the abortion issue, he's not saying, he removed Roe versus Wade and said, go to the states.
Right.
Do that at a state level.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So when they're crying about it, the question is, why are you crying about it if the states have
The
rights that hasn't been removed?
But the DNC, they're trying to say that Trump wants to outlaw abortion.
Did you see that commercial that came out? And I want to say it was Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
As far as it showed a girl, and she's like a teenage girl, and she's crying, she's panicking, and she's in her room, and it's kind of dark, and she's crying to her mom. She's going, "Mom, we got to go, we got to do this, I don't know what to do," and it looks like a movie trailer, and so they're there. And then they get in the car. They're okay. You got the bags. Okay. No, nobody knows, right? No. And so they put the bags in the car, and they're going. They're driving. And the girl's in the side. She's crying and she's sweating. And the mom's like, "It's gonna be okay, honey. We're almost there. We're almost there." And it shows the state line of like Oklahoma or Texas or Florida or something.
Yeah, somewhere where it's legal.
Somewhere where it's legal, or illegal to have an abortion.
Oh, I see.
And they're trying to get out of the state. And an officer stops them, a state trooper stops them in this commercial.
Yeah.
And, says, "Man, I want to pull you over." And then he hands the girl a pregnancy test. This isn't a real commercial. PBD played it on his podcast.
Propaganda at its fullest.
I thought it was a trailer for a movie.
Some kind of Nazi movie?
And he hands the girl a pregnancy test before they left.
Yeah.
And then it was the Biden administration said, "Is this what you want our country to be?" Like, are you kidding me?
That's okay.
It was a real commercial for the Biden administration against Trump. Like, wow. To the lengths in which you would go.
But it's funny because they'll say that the Republicans are bringing fear.
Mm-hmm. They're fear-mongering.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy.
I got nothing, man. I got nothing.
Yeah.
I just remember the billboards. Where was it at? Denver? I think it was in Colorado. There was billboards of Gavin Newsom. It was in a state next to us. It was either Colorado or Utah. But there was billboards of Gavin saying, "You made the wrong decision. Come to California to get an abortion."
Yeah, I heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
I heard about
and there
that.
was billboards all up the highways during all that big old dumbness, man. So
I heard about that. I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
So I only saw pictures. Obviously, I haven't been there, but I saw the pictures. Then I was like, I wonder if that's edited. But come to find out, it wasn't, because I know some people that saw it with their own.
No, I heard. Yeah, he really did do that.
That is
I'd heard about
pathetic.
that.
He did that in other states too.
Mm-hmm.
Pathetic.
Trying to bring some people back.
Golly,
Well, I was just
man.
going to throw one, because I know we were talking about, this is a nation under God, and if how can you? I don't know if they want God.
Well,
I think that's the whole position.
No.
The reality is they're not choosing Satan. Well, on the surface they know, but there's very few people that are going, "You know what? I choose Satan."
Okay.
They're not doing that. You know what they're saying is, "I want to be in charge of the decisions in which I make."
Oh, they're God.
They're God.
Okay.
And that's the ploy. That has always been the ploy since the beginning of time. That has always been the push. I'll be God for my own decisions of what it is that I choose. And then the blame game begins.
Well, I mean, that's a conversation that I've had with certain people. Like they like, "Look, God," and I was like, "Don't call me that." And I was just like, "Don't you know you're a God?" I said, "I'm not God." I said, "Thank God I'm not God." and then they were like, "Yeah, man, you're a God." I said, "Okay, explain it." And the very first time I ever heard that, I was like, "Explain it." And then that person's argument was, that you're made in the image of God, and that God has given you the dominion and authority over all things of this earth. all even creepy things, which makes you a god. I said, hey, man, you have a great day. He was like, what? That's it? I said, man, I ain't talking to you.
Yeah.
I said, man, that's it. I said, there's certain things I draw a line at, and this basically the only reason why I bring that up is because that's basically what you're explaining. Because people in today's life, man, they really do think they're God. But I also do, they're not yelling, oh, I'm going to worship Satan. But just like you had said in the last episode, it's Molech. These Chemosh.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
It's still there. They want a God. They want the higher power. Who were you talking about? Were you talking? I'm sorry. Was it agnostics? Agnostics, right? They believe in the higher power.
Yeah.
Or is it just atheists? I forget.
Atheists don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way around.
Agnostics believe in
Something.
Yeah, in something.
Okay, so the agnostics believe in a higher power. They just don't believe in my higher power.
Yeah.
And I really, truly think that's what is going on today. They're not yelling, I want to worship Satan. At least there's some of them that are out there. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And the thing about it is they're not yelling that, but that's what they're...
Absolutely.
Their God. They just don't want my God. That's what it comes down to.
And even in the church, though,
Yahweh.
I think our message, I think we have more of a complete message here.
Yeah.
But in the message, I'm going to say this, and I this is my opinion, and I'm not picking on Deliverance Ministries, but this is my opinion. I think one of the reasons why we have a lot of deliverance happening within the Christians and the Christian community is because we have a lack of a full message. So that submission side is not there. They don't understand that element of it. And it's almost like a baby that's what's it called?
Stillbirth?
Stillbirth or birth breached.
Oh.
They're stuck in the womb. They're right there. Yeah, and so because the message is lacking of what Peter said in chapter 2, two elements. He is both Lord and Christ.
Yeah.
And if that element is not there, and so we see that in culture, because I agree that, there is obviously Hollywood and there, hey, I've tested the blood of, it's just weird stuff. But on the surface level, the average person isn't saying that. They're saying, you can't make me do what I don't want to do. I rule my life.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's where the church has somewhat gotten its own ideologies of, well, I have, some form of decision making and all of that too. So there is no submission to the lordship of Jesus.
Yeah.
Because reality is, when we submit to Jesus, I heard David Poston say this. He said, man is living under a fake, this fake premise that you're free. Reality is, you are a slave unto sin and the devil, or you're a slave, as Paul said, unto righteousness. But you're not just in this floating place of freedom. And that's where a lot of, I think that it's just, even in the culture, that submission side isn't strong. So we have Christians that come in that are new birthed, that have no submission there, and they don't understand the freedom in which they have, and they're operating out of their feelings in their free will, giving into a lot of this. And so that's why we have what we have.
Well, real quick, I want to talk about something. Do not let it go in that direction. But what I'm going to say is this, something you had said about in God we trust. I think I'm going to open a can of worms here.
One nation under God.
Yeah. So I don't want to go in that direction, guys.
Okay.
But because we're getting our time's getting short. But I want to say this is that when our dollar bill says in God we trust, it doesn't say which God. Mm-hmm. Because on that same dollar bill is the all-seeing eye. On that same dollar bill is the pyramid. On the same dollar bill is a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with God. It's actually with pagans.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and other idols and other gods. You know what I mean? So for people to... It's a weak argument to say that, look, our money says in God we trust, because, we're talking about Masons. We're talking about, all this stuff that goes so deep about what God they're talking about.
The George Washington Bible. Cutting out the words of Jesus.
Yeah, cutting out the words of Jesus. Yeah. So I don't want to go in that conversation. But
no, I agree. I
think money has been like that from the day I think that's one of the main reasons why Jesus said, render to Caesar's what's Caesar's and render to God what's God's, because money has been about other gods and people from way back.
And notice how he acknowledged it. He said, you can't serve
two gods.
And referenced
two
money.
masters.
Yep.
Yeah, and he referenced money. Yep, I completely agree. And I get what you mean, David. Like, you don't want to go down that path, because we'll stay on there for at least a couple episodes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We'll stay on there for at least a couple episodes. I just, some of these celebrities, man, like, there's one that's really on this New York Post that's really blows my mind that he shifted.
Oops.
There it is.
No, I'm doing sounds.
There it is. But, hey, man, just pay attention.
Yeah.
I do think that President Trump will not allow to be shifted out of a thing that he sees better for the country. I've said this from the very gate about him. I'd like him. So his first time, it was the pick of the two evils.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've said this before on this podcast, is that I wasn't picking her.
Yeah.
There's no way. Just a street knowledge type of way of growing up and seeing, which hood I'm gonna run with and which veterano I'm gonna follow. It's like that's what it was. And then he did what he did. And so I don't think that one of the main things I've learned about him is he's the only non-politician to be a president.
Yeah.
So, and that's one thing that I love about him. The way it was explained to me is that wouldn't you rather have somebody in there that would put money in your pockets instead of take it? And I love that. And so that's how I look at Trump. Everybody says, oh, he's going to take your money and this and that. And like, man, if you weren't paying attention the 4 years that he was there, we were making a lot better money. And the economy was, we bought a house under him.
Yeah. I had a full tank, too.
I had a lot more in my savings account at the time.
Man, I'm telling you.
That's for sure.
So, it and just the policies alone.
Yeah.
So
I think without prolonging too, there's not only politicians that have jumped over to Trump's side. What's another thing that's been very interesting is people that have, I guess, what would you call them, influencers? Whether it's because you have Zuckerberg that put this letter out. Mm-hmm. It is very clear. There's probably a few reasons why he put the letter out. One of them could be because he sees the algorithms. He knows who's going to win.
Yeah.
Because he knows the difference of what is ads and what is real. So that's interesting that he's switching over. You have Joe Rogan that's saying he's been saying some interesting stuff that he's not necessarily a Trump guy, but he is not for Kamala.
No, he was an RFK guy.
Yeah. We have even I was trying to write some names down of even actors. Dennis Quaid.
Yep.
Has been very vocal
with the new Reagan movie. That's about to come out.
I just saw that trailer yesterday. Yeah. But he has said some stuff too.
Yeah.
On talk shows, very vocal stuff you wouldn't see 4 years ago.
Dr. Phil.
Oh yeah, Dr. Phil. Yeah, Bill Maher. He says some interesting things. I think he takes shots at both sides, but before he would have never taken shots at the Democratic side, and he's doing that now.
Yep.
Who else? I'm trying to think.
Even Jon Stewart at times in his comedy.
Jon Stewart. There's that other
shots.
comedian guy too. He's very vocal. He's doing stand-up comedy. He's the one that did that male gigolo.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider. So you got a lot of people. Yeah, Elon.
Elon was a Democrat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's still a Democrat.
Yeah. So just to kind of finish this episode, so not only do you have politicians moving on Trump's side, you have a lot of people that were very vocal now out of Hollywood, out of the music industry, out of YouTubers, you know what I mean, and just kind of moving over. So that's just an interesting wave that's happening that you would never have seen the last 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's it's interesting how I'm curious to see how that's going to play out, because ultimately none of this matters nothing. It comes down to the ballots. So it's interesting to see how that's going to play out.
I'm sorry, you first.
Well, I just wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
Because the guy that gets arrested at Telegram in Paris gets arrested, I think, 3 days ago.
Yeah.
He has an interview with Tucker Carlson telling the story of how the FBI and the CIA have been trying to infiltrate a backdoor into his system, into his algorithm.
Yep.
Who's this?
I don't remember his name.
Oh, man.
He's the owner. He's the sole owner of Telegram.
Go ahead, I'll bring it in.
And so he tells the story about how he was looking for a country to plant Telegram at. He came to San Francisco. He said, it's the only city, I traveled the world, it's the only city, he said, I was assaulted at. He said he was assaulted in San Francisco. But he said, he did say that, he said the CIA tried to steer away his engineers.
Yeah.
He said it has been consistent every time he lands in the United, what's his name?
Pavel Durova.
Yeah.
Or Durov.
Yeah. So he gets arrested, and so 4 months ago he does an interview with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson promotes Telegram, and they're collaborating, Tucker Carlson and Telegram, because they have an algorithm nobody else has, and all it is for free speech. And he tells the story that because he's from Russia.
Yeah.
And so the Russian government was trying to utilize to sway the algorithm towards one side or the other. He left Russia for the principles and shut his business down before it was Telegram, because his whole thing was, I wanted freedom.
Yeah.
He said, I understand people say things I don't agree with and everything else. And so he said he's gotten threats from iPhone, Google, Androids, all these different devices. He said because they tried to shut him down in different ways. And so anyways, he tells the story, and you can watch it on him and on Tucker Carlson, but he tells the story about every time he comes to the United States, there's an FBI agent waiting for him at the gate. He said every time.
Wow.
And so all this stuff's happening, right? So 3 days ago, he gets arrested in Paris, not where he's at in the country where he lived at. He gets arrested in Paris, which happens to be an ally to the United States. He refused the United States government. He tells a story how he received letters from our administration, demanding the backdoor to his algorithms in his system.
Really?
Because Facebook was already given it. Twitter was already given it. So they were wanting the social media platforms.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. And he ignored it.
Wow.
And so he tells all this stuff. This is 4 months ago. All this happened 3 days ago. He gets arrested in Paris. And what I read, I don't know if you have anything over the charges, if that's changed, was human trafficking, because he was allowing human trafficking to take place on his platform.
Oh, he was?
That's the charge. It's the allegations of the charge.
Yeah, I haven't read anything different.
Okay, yeah. So that's the charge he gets arrested for 3 days ago. And then the very next day, Mark Zuckerberg, who owns WhatsApp, releases that letter, throwing himself and the Biden administration under the bus, saying that the Biden administration was coercing Facebook and putting pressure.
Yeah, I read the letter.
Yeah.
I did read the letter, and who are those two brothers that they got for human trafficking in Romania?
The Tate brothers?
The Tate brothers, yeah.
I guess they're hitting everybody with that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
Because they're very vocal.
Because they're vocal. And
agree with them or not, I mean.
Yeah. All of this is happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
And then this week, Trump goes through what it is. And then this morning, I wake up, and what do I see? New charges. They're trying to reforce those charges against him that were already dropped in the federal courts.
Against Trump? I saw an article, I didn't get a chance to read it, that he was getting indicted again.
Again?
Yeah.
On the previous charges.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, for me, man, I don't touch it. I don't like talking up even my old case. Anything, it was FBI, DEA. I don't trust the government, man. I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I got arrested, this and that, but a lot of the stuff that happened in court, a lot of the things that were messed with, I never bring it up publicly. For what? Just to get back on the radar? For what? I just let it. Hey, I'm free. I take it as a win.
RFK didn't have security until Trump brought it up after his assassination attempt.
Yeah, but they just pulled it again.
They pulled it 2 days later after he pulled his name out of 10 states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still left it in 40.
Yeah.
Fauci has
Oh my God.
Secret Service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's not from anybody except the left.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
Convenient.
Yeah. No. The Secret Service is to keep the left from killing him for letting out everything that he let out as far as it being a lie and this and that.
Who, RFK or Fauci?
Fauci.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, so. But, man, you just said something right now. Here, let me see real quick. You were saying about the freedom of speech. And, one of the things that RFK was talking about is that, in the old Democratic Party, right, the old way of, John and Bobby Sr., Elon would have been a hero.
Yeah.
He would have been a hero. And when he was saying that, I was really thinking about that. And then I thought about what you had said.
Yeah.
The question is how can you be a Christian and a Democrat at the same time? But the old one, like you had said, those were different values, different morals, different integrity of those people.
The Kennedys, weren't they Catholic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the first. He was the first Catholic president.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing about it is the reason he would have been the hero is because of his platform, and he was allowing freedom of speech. But he became the villain because he was allowing freedom of speech. And the thing about it is like one of the things I started paying attention to is freedom of speech is only free whenever you agree with the left. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as I say like, oh yeah, man, I don't agree with that, or I bring something biblical up, right? Homosexuality, abortion, or any of those kind of big, huge topics that's going on in today, right? I'm a hater.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is like even RFK said, like I'm still a liberal. I mean, the word liberal means free speech. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was very, very interesting. But can I read this real quick about you were talking about votes? And my brother had sent me this. A very reliable good friend of mine just finished a poll working training, and she texts saying, I want you to know if you are checking in at the polls and they happen to write anything on the ballot before they give it to you to put it into the voting machine, a letter, a check mark, a star, an R, or a D, any writing of the kind, please request a new ballot. Your ballot could be disqualified if it is written on. And so that's just, we're talking about votes, and that has been the biggest problem in the last 2 elections.
You think they'd write on it because they're stereotyping?
I'm sure that they're trying to persuade it because it could be disqualified.
Pull up in the 4-wheel truck with the American flag hat, wearing cowboy boots?
Yeah. I mean, I've also heard that if you send in your ballot, it's automatically a Democratic vote. No matter what you voted for, that if you mail it in, they'll count it as a Democratic vote.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I've heard that too. But hey, man, that's he say, she say.
Yeah.
But
allegedly.
Why don't you just go in there, like old school?
Yeah.
Stand in line next to the trash cans, and you know what I'm saying? Hey, old school, take a good old thing of coffee.
Yeah.
And press that thing down and give people some coffee and some candy and talk about how much you love America.
Well, I heard RFK tell a story that I don't remember if it was his dad or if it was his uncle, but when JFK steps in as president, they arrested a family member at some point in time when he was president. They arrested someone in the family, because he had suppressed someone, from the other, like a Republican, and he tells us, I don't remember the exact details, but he suppressed or something of the principles that the Kennedys stood against and said they were running on. Mm-hmm. They had a family member that was part of the administration and staff that did against those principles, and they arrested him. And RFK was just saying, he said, listen, he said, I'm just making a point that this is where my family stood in these principles of freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And to the point that they were willing to arrest a family member to uphold these rights to the American people. And so it's just, it's so, like I said, I don't know why Zuckerberg did what he did. There could be a multitude of reasons. Did he get ahead of it because there's a whistleblower? Mm-hmm. Did he see what happened in Paris and was like, dude, if these people get elected?
Did he have a change of heart after the Pennsylvania thing?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, because there's that little clip of him, kind of, hey, dude,
that's the most American thing.
Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know why he did it. The timing is interesting in all of that, to say the least. But at the same time, it's like there's so much happening and it's so fast.
Yeah.
And yet, when I see it, and with the administrations, it's just like, okay, it's almost like these guys are these tech guys are going, dude, we supported them because they were backing us. But like you were saying, the algorithms, if they're seeing something that CNN, MSNBC is not portraying, because they see the algorithms, and they're going, dude, this is a landslide. Yeah. And if we don't jump ship and jump on the other side, we're going to jail. Because even Elon Musk is with his details that have come out from Twitter saying, dude, the CIA was totally involved.
Now, in case somebody out there doesn't know, and I want to put it in a very clear perspective. And let's bring it down. Let's say there's two people wanting to be mayor here in Modesto. And one person, everybody loves him because he has been in the community all his life. Anything to do with anything, he has helped. He's there. He's cleaned up streets. People love him, but the guy is broke. So he's fighting to be mayor. But then somebody else wants to be mayor, and they got a couple $1 million behind them. They got some, say, Gallo wines and who knows whatever behind him. So they plaster him all over the place. Mm-hmm. He is getting interviews with Modesto B. He is, on billboards on Highway 99 and this and that, whatever. So to some people, it could say, wow, this guy is really popular.
Mm-hmm. He's the best choice.
He's popular. Why? Because he has 2 billboards. I saw a poster of him in the Modesto Mall, and he was in the Modesto. He's always in the Modesto B, but when it comes down to it, nobody's voting for that guy. He just has money to put out.
Yeah.
But the guy that's been in the community and this and that, whatever, that's the guy. So imagine somebody knowing. So that's like Zuckerberg saying, I know what is the guy putting a lot of posters up, and I know who's really popular because they know the algorithms of Facebook. So part of me, I'm curious to know, is it him because he knows what's going to happen in a couple months?
And I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
That's a good motivator too.
Yeah. So a lot of times, because it was very clear, man. It's very clear, again, regardless of what anybody feels about Trump, it is very clear that when Biden was still going, nobody wanted Kamala Harris for vice president. Nobody. She was the most unpopular person, a vice president ever in the history of the United States. And from that to 2 weeks later, it's amazing what this can do. It's amazing, and it's just insane to me.
Did you see the article that said that Kamala has spent more on social media advertisement this month? Like $47 billion.
Yeah, guess who knows that? Yeah, Zuckerberg.
Exactly.
He knows what's fake and what's real.
Yeah. Crazy.
Trump puts out these crazy ads. It looks like he's using a Samsung phone.
Officer Tatum has a Kamala shirt that he's selling right now, and it says it's DEI. Didn't earn it.
He's hilarious.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it.
He's hilarious.
I'm telling you,
Officer Tatum.
That's our Arizona friend.
He's out of Phoenix, huh?
Yeah.
You gotta love him, man. He's funny. He's hilarious.
He's real.
Yeah, he's real.
He's
Same
real.
Hodge twins. You got Hodge twins too. You watch them?
No, not too much. I've seen some.
Yeah, they're patriot page, not the other one.
Yeah. Dude, I do know
Patriot
that.
Twins.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do know that.
They're hilarious. Sometimes when stuff gets really bad and you just want to pull your hair out, I watch them because they turn it into comic.
Comedy. Yeah.
Dude, hilarious.
I have
Yeah.
a shirt from them. I bought
Did
one
you
of their
really?
merch shirts.
Yeah.
They tell each other to shut up. Maybe we'll get that comfortable.
I'm telling you, man. We got to do that. We got to do that where you can find the toupee.
Yeah.
Put it on Donald. We'll put it on Donald Duck.
Yeah.
And then,
so we have, guys, we pre-recorded this early because you're going to be out of town. And you're going to be
Yeah.
out of town.
Yeah.
And so we pre-recorded this, but for us, it's a Wednesday. So I got to get ready for Bible study. We have prayer. So, but I just want to appreciate, is that it? Pretty much it?
Yeah.
This is episode 5. Again, if you want to be involved in the live comments as we're actually doing this live, it's every Tuesday, roughly between 4 and 4:30. We go live, but you got to be a supporting member of this channel. The lowest tier is $4.99, and you can be included in. And it's every single Tuesday, like we said. Other than this one, we have to pre-record because these guys are going to be out of town, but then it goes on the channel. It goes on the channel the very next day. And but thank you so much. God bless you. Hopefully you enjoy this stuff. This is stuff that for sure you don't hear me talk about ever because the pulpit belongs to the Lord. But this is an open forum, and let's just talk. You know what I mean? And that's why we call it that. Anything else you want to? No.
Share the video, like,
Oh, yeah.
subscribe, and share it with others.
I did want to say this because this is something that we talked about last time. Comments, questions.
Yes.
It's something that we all look at, and if you have questions, because if you don't have the membership, you can and watch it. The next time you can drop those questions in because if your question comes across and it seems interesting, you know what I mean. We want to go ahead and address it and. I've said before, the more knowledge you drop, the questions that you ask, the smarter we get, the more we look into things. We're 3 different men that don't get to see everything. So whatever comments, questions, please drop them in there because we are paying attention.
Yeah, we'd like to answer it on air live.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. God bless.
Bless you.
Peace.